like and subscribe. The percentage of men with at least 6 close friends has fallen by half since 1990, and men today are 5x more likely to say they do not even have a single close friend than they were 30 years ago. What is your experience of forming and sustaining friendships today? I have one friend left that would 100% accept a collect call from jail. A good friend will take the collect call from jail. A great friend will show up with the bail money. A best friend will be in the cell next to you. When I stood there at my own wedding without a best man, I knew that forming and sustaining friendships was a skill I sucked at. I have no idea how people make friends. I hope this doesn't get buried. It will, but if it helps at least one person, it'll be worth it. My trick is to do the same things at the same time. Be the guy who sits at the corner of the bar and always drinks a rum and coke at the same bar most Friday nights. Be the guy who sits at the library on Saturday mornings reading non-fiction books about Europe. Be the guy who orders a caramel macchiato at the local cafe every Sunday morning. Be the dude doing squats at the gym every Sunday evening. This is stuff I do, but whatever your pleasure, you get the idea. Do this regularly, and you'll start seeing the same patrons/employees over and over, and eventually they'll start to recognize you, and be comfortable with your presence. I made friends with a dude at the bar who also seemed to be there every Friday night, and saying was as simple as, "Hey, you're here again too? Mind if I sit with you?" And we hit it off. One of the librarians saw me coming in and said hi, and mentioned the library had a book club, and since she saw me reading a lot, she mentioned they were looking for new members. I didn't join, because I don't have the time, but that would have been like 5+ potential new friends there. All too often, people give advice about getting out of your comfort zone, or try something new. In my experience, you don't need to reinvent yourself as a person, you just need to create a routine that shows strangers what your interests are, and invites them to join. I'm 51 meters, and although I have a wife and child, I'm very lonely. I wish I had a friend. Most of my friends are either from high school, or from a sports Discord channel. We talk or try to talk daily. I have just got the one friend that will get out of bed to go and see or hang out with. I guess it is different for everyone in different situations. Personally, the group I used to associate with got wrapped up in hard drugs etc, so I distanced myself and focused on work and stuff, and then ended up just not making new friends. 26 meters. Work in a field that has mostly older people in my office. Work friends only stay around for work. Too many times they have moved on and never made contact. Friends from school days all fell out. In the world of 9 to 5, with trying to think about the future, dedicating time to a partner, house, chores etc. I find it difficult to even give myself time to have any kind of hobby, let alone try and find some avenue to connect with someone and build a friendship. Even online gaming isn't what I was back when I was 13 and people would party up and make friends online. It's sad and I think about it quite a lot. Recently got a dog and this is probably the least lonely I have felt in 7 or so years. It's hard, but the thought of finding people who don't just leave you immediately seems like a long shot. Yeah, from day one to today, I don't think I've ever had a close friend, like a confidant for the deepest of talk, or W/E you'd wanna call it, that theme. Not being in the social environment of school or college anymore, I don't even maintain a social life at all outside of family. I think, personally, it's some kind of anxiety of having to maintain them, and make effort/commitments to maintain them. Even deeper than that, I think it's not feeling like I get much emotionally out of them in the first place. I can socialize perfectly fine, and my life hasn't really degraded at all. I think I've been desensitized to a lack of social contact. Not a good thing. I go to work, and then I go home. When I moved to New York, everyone acted like they were too good to be friends with the new kid, and people have not changed since then. I have my dog, who needs more. Maybe this sounds like boomer, But I genuinely believe that the internet has to do with this. People are just seen as more disposable in online relationships, and it is harder to miss people when you are not with them physically. A lot of it is on me. I'm geographically separated from my old school friends, and have pushed many friends away as we age, and certain things diverge. Adult responsibilities also take over. You gotta prioritize your kids, and do that daily grind for them. This has social consequence. 10 years ago I had a handful of close friends. As of right now I'm down to one, and in all honesty it's just because my best friend and I live together. We get along real well, and this situation allows us both to live in relative comfort as opposed to living all alone. If we didn't live this way we probably wouldn't be as close, because the same thing would happen that's happened with the rest of my friends. We just all have busy lives, and it just becomes harder and harder to maintain a friendship that is consistent enough to keep things ongoing. People just don't have time anymore. My friend and I are lucky in a sense. Everyone knows men don't need friends. Eat, work, die. Let's all get on with it, lads. I have a very solid friend group. I'd say 15 close friends. I played recreational soccer in middle and high school, and that is where my friend group came from. The teamwork skills that came from playing soccer really solidified our friendships. Even now, almost 10 years out of high school, we talk almost every day, and make sure to schedule a few trips a year that everyone can attend. I struggle to form new friends, but I would do anything for the ones I have. I've moved all over my home country, and then left it. I make friends every time I move, but holding on to friends once I'm far away is always hard. I do try to keep in touch with people, so if I'm in the same area we can meet up. It's quite nice without of them we meet up, and it's like no time has passed, and we just catch up and hang out. That said, I do often feel lonely as I rarely make more than 2 close friends at any one time. Usually as soon as I make more I move again, and have never been great at online friendships. Everybody is expected to be a nomad and drop everything, and move anywhere for their career. Best friend in college, and for a long while after that, another friend of a friend via him. We all had some great times. People grow up, and build their lives, family, career, and all moved out of state. Sure, I can fly to see them, or they can fly to see me, but it's not the same as hey wanna go play some cards tonight at Z's. Whole bar? Close friends now? 0, I'm fine with that. Soon to hit 40, and it's not easy to build any kind of bond or trust with the way the world is. I take care of myself, that's all I really need. My fiancée reconnected with an old friend from high school through Facebook. Started hanging out with her and her boyfriend. They got married, we've stayed close friends, and now her husband and I are good friends, and he's going to be the best man in my wedding. I have been very lucky. I was on a downward spiral after a divorce in my early 30s, but started to whitewater kayak, which saved my life. And it is a source of my username. At first I did not know anyone that paddled, but I would go to the put-in, and ask groups, if I could boat with them. Eventually I built up a crew, and over 20 years I am still tight with a few, about 6 of them. We connect at least once a week to ride bikes, paddle a creek, help with a home project, or support a local brewery/taco shop. I also have my music/drinking friends. They have a standing Wednesday aboard my team go, but I am not as close with them. Interestingly, there is very little crossover. There is deep bonding and trust that builds when you are supporting each other through epic outdoor adventures that you just don't get through bars and concert venues. I cannot emphasize enough how those relationships have helped me do more than I ever thought I was capable of. As I get older, I am 55, I value and nurture them more. Thea Precious. I just cannot. I cannot trust anyone. I cannot rely on anybody. My parents are there, but they feel so distant. Everyone feels so distant. It is like a close relationship is something you only have with a romantic partner. If you are lucky. I hate this. I have no one I can actually call a friend and I am not even over 20 yet. Honestly, video games. I'm still very close friends with my guys from college, due to the fact that we have a group chat and game together a few times a week. This has allowed us to be pretty close, even being spread across 3 time zones and most of the US geographically. I'm very thankful for them, and try to prioritize video game time with them as a social activity, contrary to a lot of people's opinions of it. It's important to be vulnerable and watch your reactions when someone is vulnerable with you. A lot of men are terrified of being seen as weak and hide behind jokes. But if you can learn them, you'll see when they're genuinely upset. Just sitting in silence, watching TV can deepen a friendship. Once you don't have the structure of school, keeping everyone in one place, and giving you relatively similar schedules, it gets significantly harder. If you have kids, it becomes extremely difficult, especially while they are still young. I pretty much found my social group scattered to the wind. I miss being able to have active friends, but between kids, work, and other responsibilities, there's no time, even if I did have any local friends. I personally have a handful that I'm confident won't ditch. Here is my guide to it. 1. This is the golden rule. Have people who will disagree with you about things, but are happy to talk through it. You don't like A Clockwork Orange? Why? I liked it. It offers for great conversation, and makes it okay for people to have tense moments, because you know you can work through it. Another plus is they will make sure you make good decisions. Dude, go for it. It's scary, and I get you're an introvert, but this will change your life. This applies to you as well. Make worthwhile conversations. 2. Keep consistent and loyal. Text them every now and then asking if they are alright when you are apart. Make special time for them even when you're busy. 3. Make an effort to do things you said you would. Trust me, it means a lot to people when you watch a film or TV show you like. 4. Be real. You have to open doors. I personally have a weird and wonky group of friends now. One is a liberal New Yorker boy. Another is a slightly autistic dude that makes me laugh. Another is an Asian girl who is a sweet soul. Another is an American girl who smells of yeehaw. Another is a dude with a speech impediment who loves acting. I couldn't imagine life without them. Keep in mind though, these people aren't your reason to live. Don't ever put that burden, or you'll lose friends. It is difficult to find close friends, because in my experience most men are not willing to open up emotionally with other men or women in general. There is a study about this, something like face-to-face vs shoulder-to-shoulder style of communication. To make a sweeping generalization, men like to stand shoulder to shoulder, both looking at the same thing, or doing some project, and communicate with each other that way. Women like to stand face to face and communicate, while focused on each other. Both are valid, but to a woman it seems like a man doesn't know how to communicate when really they don't know how to communicate that way. I feel like that has a lot to do with how you come off to the other person, or the way you ask them about things. Because you know, everyone considers how the other person will react to what they say, so they try to avoid social gambles that seem to have bad odds, based on the other person's character. And talking about something sensitive is a big gamble, because it can be used against them, and they could be embarrassed. I got a group of at least 5 to 6 people I'm really close with. We help and support each other when we can. Apart from that, I got another 3 to 4 people in my band, where I'm pretty close with. None of us chat daily, but we make up for that by talking about everything in person over a drink. Can't say I've had trouble with forming and sustaining those friendships. Very difficult to create new friends who I would ever consider a bestie. Found only 3 in my 35 years here, and only in contact with one now. I'd seriously dislike it if I did not have one, but how do you even go about first seeking someone out, never mind forming one? My current and previous just kind of happened by sheer luck. I have moved around for a couple of years, so my friend pool is quite limited. People have to have free time to have close friends. I stopped making friends in my early 20s. I just have peers, business partners, and people I share hobbies with now. I am content. Friends are awesome, but also a real pain in the No dude, I don't want to drink myself into a coma with you. No dude, I don't want to help you move your sofa. No dude, I cannot drop everything I am doing to come pick you up, because you did not plan a ride home. At some point it was that kind of stuff, plus hearing the same stories over and over and over. Nothing against my friends, they are still my friends, and if they really needed me to I'd probably be there 30 miles away moving their sofa with a beer in my hand, but I don't need more of those people, you know what I am saying? I cannot make friends for a number of reasons. Firstly, I'm probably mildly on the autistic spectrum, and have social anxiety, which makes it difficult to talk to people. Secondly, I'm a very pessimistic person, and all of my conversational topics have a very negative slant to them, which gets tiring. I have a boring personality as well. Added to this, I have suffered from downward social mobility, so whilst I feel intellectually compatible to people who are working high-paid jobs, I'm trapped in low-paid, low-status work, which makes me feel as though I'm ineligible for friendship with the type of people with whom I feel on an intellectual wavelength with. Then at the same time, I'm also incompatible for friendship with the types of people who work at jobs like my one. So I kind of don't fit in anywhere. I would bet that this is a barrier that an increasing number of people are facing these days. Finally, I prefer to actually establish and sustain friendships by doing activities, but there's nobody to actually do anything with. The closest I've come to a friendship is talking to people online, but you can't really have a fully fledged friendship merely by talking to someone. Conversation is an important part of friendship, but it should not be the entirety of it. Usually the friendships, based on that peter out quite quickly anyway, as I just end up boring the other person to the point where they start avoiding me with my limited conversational repertoire. So I feel as though these barriers, all added together, are quite insurmountable for me, and I do not envision myself ever having a close friendship. My best friend is my wife. 6 just seems excessive. I feel really lucky to still keep in touch with my best friend once a month or so. I'm 40. I can't think of a new friend I've made in the past 20 years beyond the people you talk to at work, but never do anything outside of work. I still have a group of friends I've had since HS, and we still text on a regular basis, but most are married with kids, or live outside the area now, so in-person gatherings are kind of rare. I've met people. They're awful. There was a brief moment in college where I was very social and had lots of friends, but since then my behavior used to drink a lot more, and their behavior has just pushed those people away. I have a couple work friend acquaintances, but no friends really, because the corpo I work for is a cutthroat place and actual friends are mostly a liability here. I tried going to hobby shops for stuff like tabletop and wargaming, but either the people interested in knowing aren't interested in me, or there's too much of a gulf in life experiences between me and them to bridge. Most of my pre-college friends still live in our hometown, and there's such a massive wealth and quality of life gap that it makes it very challenging to interact without them feeling bad, or without being asked for money. Being an adult is balls. I had a bunch of friends I grew up with, a bunch from jobs I had, and some from other places like online. I think for all of us, starting families is a major factor in starting to distance. You just start focusing more. Also, some people get divorced, or move away, or do crazy and get ostracized. Honestly, I'm in my early 40s with a wife and kid. I talk to a few friends online, and one old friend we play coop video games once in a while. But it's hard to actually get out and meet people. Also, I live like 2 miles from a friend I grew up with, but he's a single dude, so we hang out, but my life is a bit boring, so it's hard to talk about anything interesting. Short end of the stick, cause all the schools I have gone to are 30 minutes from my house and never had any close friends, except one who moved out of state. My 3 best friends have all moved out of state, which is just super unlucky. At this point, I have PPL that I am chill with at my school and hockey teams, but not the same, and I don't see them on my spare time. I have somewhat maintained the relationships with my old friends by playing online video games, but it is not the same. I have not confided about anything in anyone for a very long time. I am 31 and have about 10 close friends. I am not very social, I don't like meeting new people, but when I form a bond it is normally for life. I met half of my friends skiing, some in the gym and some traveling the world. I have very best friend from grade school, 60 years of the best I could ask for. And one very close friend from work, 18 years. Been blessed with these 2. I'm still friends with my literal cradle friend. But once we moved apart we have never been as close as when we were young. I feel like distance kills a lot of relationships. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck. 3 weeks of